All right. There we go. All right. So right now we're going to look at lesson 4.6. And just like we did, I'll do the lesson check as like a on Schoology. But so lesson 4.6 talks about the associative property of addition. We know the commutative property of addition, which is like 3 times 6 is the same as 6 times 3. They can switch places. Let me know the distributive property, which is like if we break a number apart, we got to give, let's say we have 3 times 8. Well, I break 8 into 4 and 4. I got to give that 3 to both 4s and then add them together. We're giving it. We're distributing it amongst the numbers. And then associative property. We've already learned the associative property of multiplication or addition, which it says up here, it's the grouping property. Let's say 2 and 3 is hanging out talking and 4 is left out. Well, now 3 goes over and talks to 4. We put them in a group and 2 is left out. They're associating. They're talking. They're in a group. Okay. So the associative property of multiplication states that. Oh, and the cool thing about this is no matter how you group them, the sum for addition will stay the same, and the product for multiplication will stay the same. So let's say 2 times 3 times 4. 3 and 4 is in a group, but now 2 and 3 comes over. Even this side is going to equal the same as this side, no matter what group they're in. Okay, associative property, if they equal the same, it will equal the same if it's associative property. Okay, that's in commutative too as well. So let's look at this. It says each car on a roller coaster has 2 seats, 2 rows of seats. Each row has 2 seats. There are 3 cars in each train. So they have 2. Oops, let me get this out. They have 2 rows of seats and 2 seats in each row. Each train, or there's 3 cars on each train. How many seats are on the train? It says underline what we need to find. Well, we circled it. And it says describe the groups of seats. We have 2 rows of 2 seats on 3 cars. And they set the problem up right here. We have 2 rows, 1, 2, of 2 seats, and we have 1 car, 2 car, 3 car. That's kind of what it would look like. Each circle stands for a car, and those are the seats inside the car. And we got to figure out how many seats we actually have. So they wanted us to use the array, and they did it. They did 3 groups, 2 rows, 2 across. And we know 2 times 2 is 4. And 3 times 4 is 12. We know that. And we also could, they grouped 2 and 2 over here. Well, over here they grouped 3 and 2. They can switch it. We have 3 times 4, which equals 12 here, but now we're going to have 3 times 2, which is 6, 6 times 2, which is 12. These are both different problems. 3 times 4 is 12, and 6 times 2 is 12, but they equal the same thing. These are 2, 3, 4, and 6. They're all factors of 12. You can use those numbers to make that number. Okay. When I say they're factors, means let's pretend 6 is a factory. Can 6 ever make 12? Yes, if you go to factory 2. Okay. Can 3 ever make 12? Yes, if you go to factory 4. Can 4 ever make 12? Yes, if you go to factor 3. Okay. You're going to have to start learning the factors. The factors are the numbers that come together to make the product. So 6 can make 12. 2 can make 12. 3 can make 12. 4 can make 12. Now it says we're going to use the commutative and associative property. And you guys knock this out completely. We're good at this. So we have 4 times 3 over here times 2. Well, they said I'm going to group 3 and 2 together. So I'm going to move my brackets from 4 and 3 over to 3 and 2. So now we got to do what's in parentheses first, always. 3 times 2 is 6. And we know 6 times 4 is 24. That's associative property. We just switched it. Now we have 4 times 3 times 2. We did the commutative property to switch these 2 places, which you can do, to 4 times 2 times 3 And then we did the associative properties where we switched the groups to 4 times 2 because 4 times 2 is actually easier than 4 times 3. So you can switch these places. You can switch them. You can switch them no matter always. So now 4 times 3 is, or 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 3 is 24. And look, 4 and 6 can make 24, and 8 and 3 can make 24. We can use the same numbers, but they have different problems. Or different factors, I'm sorry. Same product, different factors. Find the product of 5, 2, and 3. So find the answer of 5, 2, and 3. Write another way to group the factors. Is the product the same? So let's just do 5 times 2 times 3. And let's group it right here. And then let's do the same thing, 5 times 2 times 3. And let's group it right here. So now we have to do what's in parentheses first. So let's go from left to right. We have 5 times, what's 2 times 3? It's 6. Right here, we have to do what's in parentheses. We have to do what's in parentheses first. So 5 times 2 is 10 times. So these are new problems. 5 times 6 is 30. 10 times 3 is 30. Are the products the same? Yes. Why? Because the factors, because these numbers right here, because the factors are the same. Because the factors are the same. Okay? If these factors, if one of these numbers changes, let's say this 2 goes to a 4, and I put a 4 down here, they won't equal the same anymore. The factors have to remain the same. Okay? It says write another way to group the factors, then find the product. So they group 2 and 1. So let's now just group 1 and 7. So just like that. And we solve it. Do what's in parentheses first. 1 times 7 is 7. 2 times 7 is 14. They have 3 and 4 grouped here. Well, now let's group 3 and 3. We know 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Right here, they have 2 and 5 grouped. Well, let's just group 5 and 2 on this side. And we can't forget that 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 5 is 50. They have 2 and 6 grouped. Well, I'm going to group 3 and 2. And then add my 6 in. 3 and 2 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Over here, they have 2 and 5 grouped. Well, I'm going to group 2 and 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5. We should know that one is 20. Lastly, they have 1 and 3 grouped. So now I'm going to group 3 and 6. Let's just do that. And 3 times 6 is 18. 18 times 1 is 18. So you just have to kind of repetition. If we go through that multiple times, you guys will see the grouping. You know, we're switching the groups to make the multiplication, the final multiplication a little bit easier for you. Remember, if you have to pause it, please do. All right, we're going to go through these. So 2 times 3 is 3. Well, I'm going to group, instead of 2 times 3, I'm going to group my 3 times 3. So now 3 times 3 is 9 times 2, which equals 18. I have 8 times 3 grouped here. Well, I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to group my, oops. Let me erase that real quick. So now I'm going to group my 3 and 2, and 3 times 2 is 6. And 8 times 6 is 48. We have 5 and 5 grouped. Well, I'm going to group my 2 and 5 instead. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 5 is 50. Instead of grouping 3 and 2, I'm going to group 2 and 4. 3 times 2 times 4. We know 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 6 times 1 times 4. They have 6 and 1 grouped. I'm going to group 1 and 4. 1 times 4 is 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. They have 2 and 6 grouped. I'm going to rewrite the problem and put 2 and 2 in a group. 2 times 2 is 4 times 6. 6 times 4 and 4 times 6. Commutative property. Those are the same. I know we walked through that a little quick, but you guys could even, I think you guys could see, we're just switching the groups. Switching the groups, doing what's in parentheses, and multiplying the other number. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. Boys, I want the boys to do the even numbers, just for practice, and girls to do the odd. Okay? There's not a lot of room to do it on here. So, for example, I would just probably do it like this. I'll do one for the boys and one for the girls. So let's say we have 6 times 5 times 2. What numbers can I group together to make it easy? The 5 and the 2, because 5 times 2 is 10. So now we have 6 times 10, which equals 60, because 5 times 2 is 10. The 6 stays the same. So I did that one for the boys, and for the girls, we have 2 times 5 times 6. What numbers can I group together to make it easy? Easy. The 2 and the 5, because 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 6 is 60. All right? These are tough. So it says find the unknown factor. So 7 times what equals 56? That's going to be our biggest issue. Let's look at multiplication chart. Let me get the multiplication chart back up. I think we were using this one earlier. All right. So let me get this up. I'm going to put this right here, and I'm going to put this right here. So we have 7 times what equals 56? So I'm going to my 7 down. I'm going to count over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So 7 times 8 equals 56. Well, I can't put an 8 in here because that gives me 8 times 2, which equals 16, which is too big. So we got to ask ourselves, what times 2 equals 8? It's 4. Okay? The goal is to find what we need in the parentheses and then find out how we're going to get it. So let's do the next one. 6 times what equals 30? So let's go to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 5. So we have to make this equal 5. So 5 times what equals 5? 1. Do the next one. It takes me a second. All right. So now we have this. We have 2 times 2, which is 4. Now, what times 4 equals 32? Well, let's go over and look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So right here, 8. What times 7 equals 42? So find 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to have, this has to equal 6. 2 times what equals 6? 3. The next one. 8 times what equals 40? So go to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 5 times what equals 5? 1. I know this is pretty tough. And lastly, 25 times 1 is 25. So 25 times what equals 0? We know anything times 0 equals 0. So those can be tough. What number sentence does this array represent? So we have 3 rows with 2 in it, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 groups. You see how they're kind of spaced out? There's a space here, here, and here. So we have 3 rows with 2 in it and 4 groups. So now we're going to solve it. Let's group them together. And you can group them any way. You could group the 2 and the 4 together. You can group the 4 and the 3. But I'm just going to group it how I wrote it. So I know 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. You could also have done it like this. 4 groups with 3 rows of 2, and you could have done it like this. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Jamal has 65 quilt patches. He makes 2 quilts with 5 rows of 6. How many quilt patches will be left over? So we have, he makes 2 quilts that have 5 rows of 6 patches. So we can group this 6 and 5, or 2 and 5, or 2 and 6. I'm just going to group 2 and 5 because I know it's going to equal 10. So if I group 2 and 5 together, I come 10 times 6. And what's 10 times 6 is 60. If he uses 60 patches and he has 65, so he has 65 patches and he uses 60, how many is going to be left over? 5 quilt patches. Just like that. That's a multi-step equation. On the next one, we're going to use our graph here. Let's decode it. Let's decode this graph. So King to Ka is 5. Steel Force is 6. And Mr. Freeze is 4. So each car on the Steel Force train has 3 rows of 2 seats. How many seats are on the train? Draw a picture. So Steel Force has 6 cars per train, and each car has 3 rows. So we're going to have 3 rows of 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1. So there's 1 car, but I got to have 6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Car 2. Car 3. Car 4. Car 5. And car 6. So this is the Steel Force. How many seats are on the train? Well, we can go through and count them, or we know we have 3 rows of 2 with 6 cars total, and I'm going to group them like this. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36 seats. Just like that. A King to Ka train has 4 seats per car, but the last car only has 2 seats. How many seats are on the King to Ka? So the King to Ka has 5 cars with 4 seats per car. All right. So we have, let's do it over here. Let's have 5 groups. 1 group, 2 group, 3 group, 4 group. We have 5. And each train has 4 seats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And says the last car only has 2 in it. So how many equal groups do we have? We have 4 equal groups because 4 of them have 4 in it. So 4 groups have 4 in it. What's 4 times 4 is 16. And the last group has 2. So we got a plus 2, which equals 18 seats. That is a pretty tough question. Now, sense or nonsense? If it makes sense, you can see it. If it's nonsense, you have no idea what's going on. Each week, Kelly works 2 days for 4 hours a day and earns $5 an hour. Lynn works 5 days for 2 hours and earns $4 an hour. Kelly says they earn the same amount. Does this make sense? So let's do Kelly real quick. Take for Kelly. She works 2 days for 4 hours a day and makes $5 an hour. Well, let's figure this out. Let's group our 4 and our 5. So 2 times 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times 2 is 40. So Kelly makes $40. Let's do Lynn. Lynn works 5 days a week for 2 hours for $4 an hour. Let's group our 5 and our 2. So it makes 10 times 4, which equals 40. So Ken makes $40 and Lynn makes. So Kelly makes $40 and Lynn makes $40. And it says Kelly says they both earn the same amount. Does this make sense? Yes. Yes, it makes sense. Yes. They both make $ first 40. And if you have this equation right here, you explained it to me. You definitely explained it to me. And look, they all have the same factors: 2, 4, and 5, 5, 2, and 4. No matter what the order is, they're going to equal the same. Lastly, Clayton packs 3 boxes. He puts 3 lunch bags in each box. There are 4 sandwiches in each lunch bag. How many sandwiches does Clayton pack? So we have 3 boxes. 1, 2. These boxes have to be bigger now. 1 box, 2 box, 3 box. And he puts 3 lunch bags in each box. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And there are 4 sandwiches in each lunch bag. So I'm just going to put 4. Instead of drawing 4 dots, I'm going to put 4 in them. We know each circle stands for 4. So we have a few equations. We can do, let's just add up 1 box. 4, 8, 12. So you have 12, 12, and 12. Or we know we have 3 boxes with 3 bags in it and 4 sandwiches in each bag. If we do the associative property, I'm going to group 3 and 3 together, which makes 9 times 4. And I know 9 times 4 is going to be 36 sandwiches. 36 sandwiches. Pause this whenever you need to, or go back if you have to. All we got to do here, guys, is just switch the grouping. For example, they have 4 and 3 grouped together. Well, let's group 3 and 2. So now I'm going to have 4 times 3 times 2 and put my 3 and 2 in a group. So now I have 4 times 6, which equals 24. Right here, they have 2 and 8 in a group. Well, let's put 2 and 2 in a group. So 2 times 2 times 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 8 is 32. That's what you have to do on that one. You guys can put parentheses around either one of them. How would you use the associative property multiplication to solve this? Check this out. They already grouped 10 and 4 together. Well, let's just regroup it. So 10 times 4 times 2. Let me put my 4 and 2 together, which gives me 10 times 8. And we know 10 times 8 is 80. So you definitely have to do number 15. I put this, again, on Schoology. If you want to do it on Schoology, you can. If you want to do it on here first and then go on Schoology and do it, you can. If you just want to do it on here, you can. Okay? You can do both. You can do it on here, or you can do it on Schoology, whatever one you want to do. Okay? I put it on Schoology to put it straight into the grade book, but if you want to do it on here, you perfectly can. If you want to do it on here and then put it on Schoology for practice, you can. That's up to you, okay? You guys do it anyway. All right? You guys have a good one.